Thank you. So I was keeping up on the drama with Watcher and now the Try Guys, two of the most popular prior Buzzfeed channels. If you didn't know, that would be Buzzfeed Unsolved and Worth It with Ryan Bergera, Shane Madej, and Stephen Lim, as well as the Try Guys, now just Eugene Lee, Keith Havisberger, and Zach Kornfeld. Eventually, all these creators went their separate ways with BuzzFeed, and they then created their own channels, Watcher and the Try Guys, respectively. Watcher, in particular, both channels, but Watcher was definitely thriving until the announcement to move to a paid streaming service model was done in the name of funding their production, as their company goal was to deliver television quality content.
It's a streaming service, and it's available worldwide. It's an app for your TV, phone, computer, tablet, you name it.
It's got exclusive new shows, but
we'll put an asterisk on that term. I think they were kind of doomed from the start, likely due to production practices learned from BuzzFeed, as I'll show in a sec. Now, the Try Guys, which is now just Keith and Zach, down Eugene after this first season on the streaming platform Second Try is over. They're doing the same thing almost a month later. So I'll walk through my opinion on the drama, as well as even provide a solution. I think I have what they should have done, kind of. I believe that it probably would have made everything work out, but we would never know, but it probably would have never happened because of the probable motive of why everyone is moving to this very individualistic model. I think being able to explain more of what a production team looks like in the entertainment industry might, it's just something isn't clicking for me personally, just by hearing everyone's reasons for why we're moving to this model in the first place. So do you remember that asterisk? I'm guessing at BuzzFeed, they taught their content creators, they taught them expensive business practice for making shoots while undertraining them in the logistics of production.
And they filmed 4 of these fucking things in one goddamn day. It costs money to rent one of these shitty goddamn apartments. And they're like, oh, let's just pump as much fucking content out of it as possible. We'll pack this, whatever. I get that. That's normal film shit, right? That's normal film shit. That day, as a fucking PA, I was there from 7 a.m. to 2 o'clock at night, bro. When I recorded those overtime hours, Ned told me that I needed to clear overtime beforehand. And it blindsided me.
And then massively changing pre and post production to account for this being an internet series or like an internet video. So why are they asking their fans for money to improve the content? Because as far as I'm aware, all of the content quality is really great, and a lot of people are still happy with it. But mostly, and this is more for Watcher than the Try Guys, because Watcher said this specifically, if they wanted TV, they should have moved to TV, period. Not become a competitor to television and streaming. And this is, now we're getting back to the critique of the Try Guys, kind of this. Both of them, I believe this is a bad idea, because this is why. TV studios and grants, whether they be through companies or through your government. I'm in Canada, so actually Canada pays a lot for their artists, so you can apply a lot for individual grants based on the proposal that you would send. In order to justify the money, you would write some sort of declaration of what you would do with the money and apply for the bursary. So this kind of avoids this weird situation where you are asking for your fans for your money. And also, as far as I'm aware, the Try Guys have already had their TV show era, so good for them. But just streaming services, networks and streaming services have hundreds and hundreds of episodes and hundreds of shows on one network or streaming service created by gotta be over 100 showrunners, right? Probably more on Netflix, like way more on Netflix. It's also for producers and directors and other creative heads. There's so many different people doing different, it's like individuals. There's more individuals. So it's almost kind of like laughable to think like that 3 guys in Watcher's case could think that they could create a streaming service for only their creative content, like 3 versus like how much on like all the streaming platforms you watch, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever. Even considering the fact that BuzzFeed Unsolved is definitely like their front runner show that gets like clicks even from not like their core audience. Like there's like this has even like been done before where there's been a successful streaming YouTube platform. Nebula. Nebula is a content creator owned and operated service with so many great video essayists like Lindsay Ellis, H Bomber Guy, Sarah Zad, and even like other channels that also have that educational quality to them. Like Legal is on Nebula. Over 175 creators on their $5 a month platform. That's at least 60 times the value. I mean, just even thinking like in terms of like the different creative input that you would find on that channel, because it's not just the brainchild of these specific people or one show or a couple shows from one specific production team. It's hundreds providing original content that a person can pay for. That's the price of like a la carte paying for like a TV channel. Like this is like an appropriate price, $5 for 175 showrunners essentially. On one network, Nebula, that's very fair. Like a single channel can usually be bought for around $5.99 Canadian, somewhere around there. It's like single digits for like any of the providers, Roger or Bell. So for Watcher, clearly they just totally mismanaged their business. Either these guys just really don't know what they're doing, or being given like bad advice, or if they were caught just being greedy. Their approach to television and film really doesn't make sense, even when we think of it with television streaming as well. They also at first didn't even consider their patrons at all, which is like, a model of directly going to the consumer for the money that you would use to produce the content. Both the Try Guys and Watcher also discussed the thought of advertiser demands. Yeah, I hate to say it, and I don't necessarily think this 100%, but I'm fairly certain that this drama just revealed that this channel is going to be mismanaged like directly into the ground. I mean, it's pretty likely. It's really likely. With people and like a full production team at the helm that doesn't know what they're doing or how to spend their money or how to save their money. And the Try Guys repeat the same mistake, unfortunately. I mean, no wonder Eugene's leaving. Oh.
What are y'all doing?
I'm kidding. And it doesn't help that they almost beat by beat create the same offer as Watcher ended up with their model of being partially on YouTube, but also like focusing mainly on the service. Remember, also in a weird position where they're now paying for content that was previously free, and now it is like mandatory to pay for it if you want to watch it on a regular basis, it seems. For Watcher as well as the Try Guys, as their uploads will be delayed, they said, as a result of posting them on the streamer service first. It like almost guilts the viewer a little bit by like by mentioning kind of like the growing team and the growing payroll and like how expensive all this shit is, though. No talking about how they would further kind of supplement what they already have with the sponsors as well. It's like money is only going to be collected from the streaming service. I will say that the Try Guys product, Second Try, is ultimately a way more fair, especially considering the initial Watchers announcement, which was awful. But this is also relatively what you get on Nebula as well. But again, I'm not really convinced that this is ultimately a fair product as well, considering that they've chosen to, like Watcher, also keep things like their Patreon up. So are they going to go for sponsors and other means of collecting funds from their audience, or is it just going to be funneled through the stream? And I think as long as the audience is fine with paying for all that stuff, I mean, great. Just, oh my god, that's so expensive for just 3 guys. Now I'm getting to my idea here. I believe that what they should have done is that they should have took their heads out of their wallets, to be frank. I'm thinking more of the Watcher guys, to be honest. They could have seen that if they could have went to either traditional media, of course, like I said, but obviously it's clear that they were incentivized to have 100% of the money going to them. They could have started their own network. They could have started their own YouTube streaming service like Nebula. And instead of it just being one creative team and you're purchasing the value is spread out more into something that is more comparable to services and to stuff that we have today, to make it more like a Netflix as opposed to I gotta pay $5 a week now to watch the Try Guys? That's a lot. Ask other YouTube channels that have similar content to yours, and then you can build up the pool of different creators that are on that platform. Like, did we forget that, again, this used to be all on one channel? The Try Guys, BuzzFeed Unsolved, they all used to be on one channel. So if they only had enough content to fit on one channel, who gave the idea to be like a network or a streaming service? I don't know who gave them this idea. It could also be structured as a company where the funds go equally to the creators, or as equal as that can be. However, I do believe that at the end of this never would have happened, clearly, because clearly this seems to be quite money motivated, for both of them at least. And they want to keep from siphoning or letting people siphon away random percentages of the amounts that they actually have over their own property. We're also talking about percentages that provides them with the platform, the literal website to broadcast themselves on. You go up the video production chain into like traditional television, not to, traditional television and then film sets. It's like, video production is really fucking expensive. To be wholly independent, networks collect money from selling advertisements. They get it from corporations and donors to fund, but even in theater and film, they look more to sponsorships and donation than actually selling advertisements. They use their corporate elites to basically sell entertainment to large companies to invest in. It's sad, but at that point, it's how people only focus on sales essentially communicate. You have to have salespeople on behalf of the artists to play the game with the other salespeople. And networks invest into the hundreds of production teams they hire to make quality content for a paying audience, not making the audience pay for 100% of the extremely expensive business. It's the audience pays for the content, yeah, and they pay to turn on their TV and watch a show. They pay for a ticket to see a movie. An audience doesn't want to pay for cameras. An audience doesn't pay a person's salary. An entertainment company does. It's like saying that you're like paying the McDonald's worker that gave you a burger. Like, no, you just paid for the burger. It's at the end of this, it's just, I think more of my issue is just that it's setting up like there's an obligation that the audience has to pay for this content. And what I'm saying is that there's no precedent for the audience to pay for this content. So I hope fans of the Try Guys and the Watcher Guys know that they're not, don't feel like they have to join this service, and that like this is like a progression that they need to immediately hop on the bandwagon for if they're like not into it. In the end, I'm really not convinced that this is the next step in actual fair compensation for independent creators, especially ones that like want to provide expensive, high quality content. These steps don't make the most sense longevity wise, honestly. Even though that was a motive, they are neither pushing boundaries with a mid to weak product, a substandard product, or setting themselves up for future failure with more reckless expansion. So I also watched the Tell All, and I appreciate the Try Guys' candidness, and I'm actually glad that they explained the specifics of why they took their actions to why they came to the decision they did.
Our channel was surfaced, it chased advertisers away because we were too hot. We lost millions of dollars in booked branded revenue. It sent our company into a tailspin.
It did seem like it was a little less greedy motivated and more of like, we have a sinking ship that we want to help, and I can of course empathize with that. However, I still think that this kind of proves my point that this probably came from bad decisions. It also doesn't seem like it's like really even their fault, and that mismanagement would be more of a Watcher issue than the Try Guys having to recover from the awful Ned scandal. However, I still think that because of what I was talking about before, it's not a good idea, or at least like this is not like this is not a good idea. Or at least this idea, I think, will not be followed by innovators of content creation. I think that in the end, it will look more like artist collectives that would exist, and I really hope that I would see more YouTubers in the future consider the idea of like not necessarily forming a company, but like having like a type of content house that isn't toxic. Like, I mean, OTK is fine at the moment. But regardless, I think that honestly, this just all boils down to maybe just they should have, despite having the same idea, they should have coordinated more. There we go. Finished. End of the video.